Disassembly of a Pilot parallel. This is the 6mm version, but it works the same for all parallels as far as I know, and I know everything, so shut up and just accept it. Now, here's the thing. Disassembly of these pens is very easy, and it's actually a very useful thing to disassemble them and clean them, because as a calligrapher you may use some very dark, saturated black ink from time to time. Here's a free tip from Hamish. If you've got a couple of these and you always ink them up with the same colours, put a little sticker on there with the colour of ink. That way you can easily grab them when they're strewn about your calligraphy box. Now, how to clean these? It's pretty easy. Uncap the pen, screw off the barrel. Little O-ring there, bit of silicone grease. You can use the whole barrel as an eyedropper pen. Another free tip from Hamish. I'm bloody awesome. Now, pull out the converter first. These Pilot converters can often be disassembled, but not always. It's very odd. Some of them can, some of them almost seem impossible, but in principle, if you screw the piston about halfway in there, you can unscrew this metal ring. You've got a little turning knob, and you can just pull out the piston. Careful you don't lose the little washer. Once you're done, everything is nice and clean. See, there's ink on the piston. That's why it's useful if you can disassemble it, but if you can't, don't push it. This is pretty flimsy plastic and I can crush it with my fingers, so be careful when you do that. What you do is you take a little bit of tissue, you roll it up and just slide it in there, and that way you can make it ink free pretty much one go. It's like a car wash for converters. Now once you're ready, make sure the little ridges on this spacer align properly onto the ink reservoir. Then take your little turning knob, put it on there, take your little metal thing, screw it on there, and you're done. Again, if you can't open that up, don't worry too much, because once you put the converter back, you've got a wide opening, and you can always just take a little bit of tissue that's rolled up and just slide it back in from the front end. For some reason I always like going in from behind, that's why I do that. Now, here we go with the section. The section consists of a couple of parts, and this is not a very typical fountain pen. However, it works like a fountain pen. It has a feed, it has something like a nib, so it's pretty easy to just disassemble that. You take the little blue part, or whatever colour it is if you have a finer nibbed parallel. What you do is you just grab it, you grab the section, you pull out the feed unit. Now this is the nib unit, and it's quite easy. You've got the feed, you've got the nib, and you've got this blue plastic doohickey. Now here's what you do. First you just pull out the feed. You pull the nib out of the feed like that. As you can see, this is pretty flimsy metal. It's super thin, so be careful you don't bend it. Personally, I would not force anything in between these metal plates, because if you bend them, it's going to not write as well as it used to. So start there. Then you have this plastic bit which you can put your nail behind and just pull it off. That way it's very easy to just clean the entire feed of your saturated inks, and then just clean the little plastic part. Once you're ready to put everything back together, there is a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. So it's pretty simple. You see, your plastic bit has a little vent hole on one side but not on the other side. You will also see that your feed has a vent channel on one side but not on the other side. Now 1 + 1 equals 2, so take a figure of how this is going to work. Vent, vent, no vent, no vent. It's pretty simple, you know. It's not, you know, rocket science or anything. Just put these back on there, it should snap in place. Then you take your nib and very carefully you're going to slide it in. Be gentle when you slide it in, it's always better that way, and then you don't force anything. Nice and easy, because slow and steady wins the race. Now once you've got this, clean your section. You can see there's still a bit of ink in there. This is disgusting. The owner of this would be shot for not cleaning it properly. Thank God they've got Hamish. So you take a little bit of water and you just dunk that in there. Now, in all honesty, it is fairly difficult to clean this properly because there are little ridges everywhere behind which ink gets trapped. So I was only kidding when I was talking about execution, you know. Once you've got that done, dry it off with a little bit of paper tissue or something like that. Then you've got the thread end, that's where the feed does not go into. Just slide it in, take your converter, or if you do, use cartridges, put in your cartridge, put that in, take the barrel, screw that back in place, cap the pen, sit back and enjoy yourself some haggis.